What's up, Dolphin Nation? What's up, NFL fans? What's up, Finstock family? In today's video, we're going to go in and talk about a question that Chris Perkins from the Sun Sentinel posed in one of his articles and try to give you a little more clarity in terms of what's really Troy Aikman's position with the Dolphins, and is he really that powerful, or is he just a sounding board for the executives of the Miami Dolphins? I'm going to read to you the article from the Sun Sentinel and from Chris Perkins, and then I'll give you my thoughts. Chris Perkins titled this article, "What is Troy Aikman's real role with the Miami Dolphins?" I like the move by the Miami Dolphins owner Stephen Ross to utilize Troy Aikman, the Hall of Fame quarterback, as an advisor. It's smart. At the same time, I'm a bit confused on this whole Aikman Dolphin thing. Let's start here. Appearances matter, and it appears Aikman has been a loud voice, one of the loudest single voices in the Dolphins rebuild. I'm a bit confused because Aikman isn't on the Dolphins payroll. Regardless, Aikman, whose undefined role with Miami is still evolving, he'll be at the Dolphins facility for the draft. He was on the selection committee to hire General Manager John Eric Sullivan. He was on the selection committee to hire Coach Jeff Hafley. And listen to what Hafley said Tuesday when asked about Aikman. Troy has been a good sounding board, Hafley said. He's a guy that I've talked to a few times. We've had some really good conversations, and I'll continue to do that. I think it's wise that Ross recognized what he was doing with the Dolphins wasn't working and that he needed to make a change. But I have other curiosities about Aikman's involvement with the Dolphins. Make no mistake about it, Sullivan is in charge of the team, the rebuild, the day-to-day operations of the Dolphins. But Aikman, part of a new power structure that includes Sullivan, Hafley, Daniel Silman. Ross, his son-in-law, is also an executive of Ross Relevant Company. Also, I've had people ask me whether Dan Marino, the Dolphins' homegrown Hall of Fame quarterback, was leapfrogged as a resource. Was Marino disrespected? Look at me on the local angle. Nationally, it's been suggested that there could be something shady going on here with this move by Ross. There's a lot to unpack here. Aikman is an ESPN analyst, which could entitle him to exclusive information from teams that he can share with the Dolphins. Aikman, in a recent podcast with longtime NFL writer Clarence Hill Jr. of PDL Sports, said, "I think the Dolphins were wise in understanding my relationships and knowing that I have information that they don't have or can't get. And I think they were smart in taking advantage of that, whether it was through me or through somebody else. Information that the Dolphins can't get is the key phrase. To be clear, this is an NFL problem, not the Dolphins' problem. The Dolphins are playing by the rules, much like the situation with Tom Brady and the Las Vegas Raiders' partial owner and Hall of Fame quarterback, who also serves as a Fox analyst. The NFL has to resolve this perceived conflict before it grows." And I'll add this: I'm not concerned about a conflict in Aikman's dual role as an analyst / Dolphins advisor. In the 2026 season, if other coaches and players are dumb enough to share exclusive information with Aikman, knowing that he's a Dolphins advisor, well, they get what they deserve. As for Aikman possibly leapfrogging Marino, my understanding is that Marino's special advisor to the president and CEO isn't seeking an expanded role. Again, the big thing to me is that it appears that Aikman is possibly the loudest voice in the rebuild. You get the feeling that all of the biggest rebuilding moves, hiring Sullivan, hiring Hafley, and perhaps signing quarterback Malik Willis, required Aikman's approval in one way or another. It's important to note, however, Aikman won't be advising the Dolphins on who to draft. Still, he seems to be greatly influential. How did we get here to this point? Aikman said toward the end of the season, he got a call out of nowhere from Silman asking if he'd be a part of Miami's general manager search committee. Silman, according to Aikman, had reached out to some people, and Aikman's name came up a few times. Aikman said he'd been asked over the years about head coaching candidates, but he'd never been asked about general managers. Aikman gave it some thought and decided to join the GM search committee. That led to the Dolphins asking Aikman to serve in the head coaching search committee. Aikman said he sees no conflict in his dual roles with the ESPN and the Dolphins. I don't have ownership, Aikman said. I don't have influence, if you will, that Tom seemingly has there with the Raiders. It looks similar, but I'm not sure that it is. Aikman said the Cowboys never asked him to serve in an advisory role, and then he gave the quote that could raise questions about his objectivity on NFL broadcasting, especially in games involving Miami's AFC East rivals, Buffalo, New England, and the New York Jets. But I will say that I'm pulling for the Dolphins because now I have something at stake, and I think they hired two really talented, wonderful people, and I think that's going to prove itself out, he said, adding that the 2026 season, because of the salary cap issues, will be tough because of the salary cap issues, but I'm pulling for them. I want to see them do well because I feel like my fingerprints are on it as well. It's an interesting dynamic between the Dolphins and Aikman, to say the least. By the way, if anyone questions whether this is a rebuild, consider Aikman's words. I'm remodeling a house in California, so I know all about the strip down to the studs, he said. And that's what they're doing in Miami. Guys, this is not illegal what Aikman is doing, helping Miami in an advisory role. The NFL rules would need to change in order for this to affect the Dolphins, or any other team, because Brady's part owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. So this is not illegal, and I don't believe he's getting paid because he's not on the payroll. He might just be doing it for free or a one-time fee, but he's not officially on the payroll. Leave me your thoughts down in the comments, and I like that Aikman's involved because that's another person with a lot of knowledge. So leave me your thoughts down in the comments, and I appreciate your support. And like always, stay positive, stay on your grind, and go Dolphins.